Hey everyone, welcome back to Mystifying Miracles. I'm Kristen and I have another good story for you today. Anybody new here? I search out true stories and they always include miracles. Story today is about a woman named Meredith Paz. Now, Meredith was a mother and she did believe in having hopes and dreams for your life. And she had one son, Matthew, and he was getting ready to go off to college for the first time. As a child, Matthew, he was a fantastic kid. He made honor roll. He was kind to his sisters. He was honest, responsible, just your all-around, just good kid who really didn't get into a lot of trouble or anything like that. Well, when it came time for him to leave for college, Meredith desperately wanted to stop him. And it wasn't to stop him from going to college. You see, right before he left, he confided in his mother that he had a dream. Not a dream like when you sleep at night, but just as in hopes and dreams that, you have for your life. Well, he had one, and he told his mother about it, and she immediately became fearful. She didn't want him to do it. In fact, she begged and pleaded for him not to. And what he wanted to do was he wanted to take a gap year, just a year off before actually starting college, and he wanted to travel the world. Not only did he want to travel the world, but he wanted to do it with as little resources as possible. And he didn't want to have to rely on any itinerary or schedule. He kind of just wanted to do it and fly by the seat of his pants, I guess, so to speak. And his purpose, he just felt he needed to see how the world was, and he had a passion for people. He wanted to see how other people lived in other parts of the world. Well, of course, Matthew, he's 19. Mom, is scared to death. She doesn't want him all over the world, all alone and little resources. She told him that. She said, "I fear for your life, Matthew. I don't think this is a good idea." But he was headstrong on what he needed to do and wanted to do, and he was going to do it. In addition, also, he had obtained a $42,000 scholarship to the university he was attending. So his mom was also kind of worried, like, what about that? But he wouldn't lose that. He would just be taking off a gap year and then starting school after that period of time. So when it came time for Matthew to leave and, gonna leave on his first flight to go off on his adventure, Meredith, of course, bawled her eyes out. She was scared to death, filled with anxiety. And so she called one of her good friends and kind of relayed all the information and what am I going to do kind of a thing. And her friend suggested something that Meredith should probably do every day while Matthew's gone. And she told Meredith, "Look, Meredith, what you need to do, open up your Bible, pray about it every day, and seek God. Ask Him to show you a promise each day that Matthew is gone. Then get yourself a little journal, and I want you to journal it. Write about it. What are your feelings? What are the promises you're hearing?" And so Meredith thought, okay, all right, I'll do that. So Meredith does. The first day she begins. And sure enough, God gave her her first promise. And it was out of Psalm 32:8, which states, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you." So that comforted Meredith, and she would pray it. And while Matthew was gone on his trip, she'd pray it often for Matthew. Well, the next morning comes and Meredith awakes and she's all of a sudden very anxious and scared again. So she goes straight to the Bible, opens it up, reads, prays to God to send her a promise for the day, and sure enough, He does. And her next promise came out of Isaiah 41:10. "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not anxiously look about, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you, and I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." And after Meredith read that, it's like a light bulb went off, and she thought of something, and she remembered it, and she was like, gosh, it sure does say in the Bible quite a few times to do not be afraid, do not fear. And she thought of like two of the most well-known examples. For instance, when the shepherds were in the field and the angels appeared to them and told them, "Do not be afraid." Another one was when Gabriel, the angel, showed up to Mary and he told her, "Don't be afraid." So she was remembering all these things and she's like, gosh, God sure does say it a lot in the Bible. Do not be afraid. I really have no reason to be afraid. So, each day that went by, God kind of gave Meredith more encouraging words. And she says that he also ended up giving her a supernatural peace. She said it was inexplicable. She could not explain in words, but it was a peace that washed over every day. And she didn't have the anxiety or the fear. And as soon as it would rear its ugly head, that peace would wash over her as soon as she began to journal and ask God for the promises. And she would tell her friends and family about Matthew's journey because, he would call her and let her know little things. But she'd also let them know what God was telling her every day about the promises and about her prayer time. And so over time, they said, the people she talked to, they'd be like, okay, I'm going to pray for Matthew's safety. And so it just kept amassing more and more people and families saying that they would pray for Matthew. And Meredith says that eventually there were over 50 families that were praying for him. Well, days and weeks, they were flying by. And God, he did answer those prayers. He gave Matthew good health. He gave him the resources he needed to continue his travels without being ill. And anytime he was low on resources, whether it was money or whatnot, God would find a way to provide that for Matthew. And it was in late August. Matthew had been traveling for 9 months when he finally returned home. He had done what he set out to do. And Meredith and her husband, they had like this proud feeling, and they were just so proud of their son's courage to stand up and set out to do something and actually do it. They were proud of that because it showed faith and it showed courage. And in addition, though, of course, Meredith was extremely happy to have her son home, where she could see him. He wasn't out there traveling. So I'm sure that was a happy feeling as well. It was about 3 weeks after Matthew returned from his travels that he began university. A few years after that, he graduated. And Meredith, she had always lived a life of fear and anxiety, but she learned through that time, with her time with God and having Matthew gone, her faith strengthened, and she went from a life of fear and anxiety to having faith and not having as many worries, because God, he had given her promises. And he didn't break those promises. He protected Matthew the whole time. And like I said, Meredith, she learned not to dwell on those feelings of fear, but to have faith. She also learned that why should I be scared or worried when God gives me promises? Because God doesn't break promises. He keeps them. And that's beautiful and so true. Let me know what you guys think of this story. I really liked it. Everyone knows I'm not a mother, but there are a lot of moms out there, and I'm sure they fear and have anxieties about their children constantly. But rest assured, whether it's about your children or anything in life, your job, your whatever, don't fear. Just try to always remember, that's the enemy. Anytime it tries to creep in, remember that and immediately say, God, take it away. Just start praying. Even if you've never prayed before, just do it. You will be amazed by the things that will take place. I know that because I lived an anxious, fearful life my whole life till a few years ago. And I kind of came to the realization that why am I doing this? And I realized that, yeah, it is the enemy. And that's what he loves to do. Just remember, God's not a God of confusion. He loves you, and it doesn't matter. The anxiety and fear, just, I'm telling you, put it on the back burner, because it does. It ruins your life if you let it take over. Anyway, that's my little spiel on it. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And I just thank you guys for watching. If you do enjoy these miraculous stories, just remember to like and subscribe, please. And other than that, I'm going to see you guys next time.